What's up, everybody? I'm Phoenix 78, aka Brand. This is episode 72 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris and Deon this evening. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing all right, buddy. How
Doing
about you?
good.
Doing well, can't complain. We're gonna talk. There's a couple news stories, things we're gonna be talking about. Two food collabs that's gonna be alongside two major fast food brands. We'll get into that. That deal with Genshin Impact and Attack on Titan. Then we're gonna talk about something that Deon actually found on Instagram, which I kind of saw too, and Chris had saw himself as well. Demon Slayer timeline for when these movies are supposed to come out for the final arc of the Demon Slayer series, the Castle arc, as they call it. And kind of just talking about that because it's an interesting timeline and a timeline where the last movie is going to be probably the longest way away and how that's going to affect the storyline, I think, and how people are going to look at the storyline. But then we'll go through the anime charts and to see how things panned out there. Anime charts are kind of interesting, so I have to give them credit. These charts were kind of fun. And then we'll also go through the episodes. Episode 22 of Shy and episode 9 of Dungeon People. But let's get into this first. So, Attack on Titan and Genshin Impact are doing food collabs. Attack on Titan's food collab we did hear about was from KFC. I'm guessing this is only in Japan. We don't really know much else about this collab. We just know it is with KFC. We don't have like what items or things for that. I heard that saw that on Taka News that it's going to be with KFC. We don't know much else about it, but the Genshin collab is interesting. The Genshin collab is going to Genshin Impact, which is a game, a very popular game, online mobile game, is going to have their food collab with McDonald's. And actually, this one has a lot more to it. I'm going to run some of this down real quick. Is the fact that it's getting, it's from the September 17th through the 29th. So it's different things, little toy things, food items. Also, you can redeem the codes to go into Genshin as well. So it's a little bit of everything. They're trying to get, I think, people to buy McDonald's to maybe redeem the codes for Genshin Impact online or on mobile. I'm going to start off with Deon for this. Deon, what do you think about both these collabs? And more the Genshin one, because we don't know a lot about the Attack on Titan one, but both in general, what do you think about the fact we're getting more food collabs nowadays with games and things?
See, I want to have high hopes for stuff, but then I just can't get over the fact that both of these companies are Hoyoverse and McDonald's are both really big at doing whatever it takes to make money. And I would like for this to be a genuine thing, but we just got a McDonald's. McDonald's, first of all, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little long-winded, but McDonald's has always done this. Like, McDonald's has always done this. We just did the Toyota one or whatever. What was it? Jujutsu Kaisen and
Correct.
All the rappers and like McDonald's is known for this. But Hoyoverse is already Genshin as far as Genshin, because there's other games on Hoyoverse, but Genshin is already a gacha game. It's already a pay-to-play game for a lot of people. You can play it free, but it's very hard. But I just don't see this being a genuine thing, like how they did with the PlayStation. They did PlayStation very well. They teamed up with PlayStation to release their console cross-platform jump. Cool. What is the reason for this? There has to be a reason behind this, and I don't think it's genuine.
I'll answer your genuine question in a second, but Chris, what do you think about both these collabs?
Man, I said it before and I'm gonna say it again, bro. It is a money grab. And all of this are nothing but investments. So, but these are investments made by corporate giants. That is the only difference. Unlike, this is like, I don't know, like what's a good comparison? This is like if you go to Speed Zone and they're promoting the Disney movie Cars. It makes sense, but what's the point? Like, why? Like, you're left with that question asking why. Why is somebody wasting their money on a promotional event? Like, 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 what is there to gain from McDonald's or any of these other companies to use anime when their food is still crap? At least it is in the States. I
I mean,
heard
it's not great.
overseas. It's
I mean,
Overseas.
it's still like $1 billion company though. So
I mean, overseas.
eating crap.
I mean, overseas. It's I agree. It's better in overseas than in the States. I will say this. I don't agree.
That's
either.
all
I don't
food,
disagree.
though.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I don't disagree with either of y'all points. I will say this: the Genshin one doesn't bother me as much because I don't. In the past, we've done video game tie-in things for McDonald's. They have done other ones a long time ago, and we've done Pokemon things. They have done met a lot of different things, and it feels like this one was kind of inevitable because Genshin's so popular. It's the fact the game is interesting and fun, not the huge. I'm like, I don't want to play it myself, but I can see the appeal. If this was even even in terms of like, if this was Honkai Star or even ZZZ, which just came out and it has been pretty much in that top echelon of those type of games, I could see it. I could. But also I think you're not going to get the crowd, the crowd of people who play the game, like Chris mentioned, don't probably eat that type of food, and it's not because McDonald's is it's not terrible in the U.S. But it's not something. It's my last resort kind of thing for me at least. I made a McDonald's in like years, to be honest. Like, I just think that's the other thing about it. If I was going to, it would be for the fries. That'd be it. But outside of that, there's no other reason really to do it. And I think the thing with
people still love McDonald's though. They love their apple pies, they love their McFlurries, they love the fries, the chicken nuggets. To me, it's more on the Hoyo side. My bad. I think I cut you off. Continue, good sir.
No, you're good. You're right. You're right, because I think Hoyo is making the money from this collab, not the other way around. And it's also kind of scary. It's kind of scary because seeing more collabs come down the road like this, I'm wondering if it's just a way to get people who like anime, like video games, or like that kind of stuff, and just try to see if they can get new customers. Ultimately, not really going to help. McDonald's is making a brand where people know that the artists, they'll see them. You can see them anywhere in the United States, and you know what that brand is. It's the other way around of like, if you see Genshin characters in a McDonald's, you're like, oh, what is this about? Do you want to go see it? Do you want to try this game?
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to go to McDonald's just to see what it was about. So that could be the whole thing. Because I am a Genshin player.
Yeah.
You know, my kids are Genshin players. So I was like, let me go see what this is about. And then I realized like they only have like an apple pie or something that's actually
just the apple pie.
Like it's not like I'm thinking like, okay, we're gonna get like action, like little figurines with the kids' meals or something, you know, something better, you know, a little special
like it's
salsa.
Like
y'all
it's
are
an
giving
apple.
it so much. Y'all are giving it so much.
Explain, please. Explain.
Luke buffalo sauce or something.
Explain, Chris. Can you say we're giving it so much? What do you mean by that?
Bro, okay. In the U.S., most fast food, like a good 92% of it, is horrible for your health.
Oh,
and all the chemicals they put in it to make it taste good. They put in chemicals on top of chemicals to make So the fact that they're even pushing this in the U.S. is like, I almost want to call it a government scam, but you know, that's a whole nother thing.
Well, it started in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. It started overseas first. They're just bringing it here now. McDonald's did successful there. Let's see what we can do here.
Yeah, I mean, my argument isn't where it started. It's just the fact that it's coming to the U.S.
Well, and I think the thing is, if this
that's
here's
inevitable though.
true. I think for me, I've seen it on the flip side. I don't know if Chris has ever seen it. Do you remember when Call of Duty, and they still do this to this day, they partner with Monster. And if you buy Monster Energy cans, you get double XP from under the cap or however, I forget, you redeem the code. So this is nothing new for me. I get why they do it. But
even that, you actually get something out of it. You're not getting anything really out of this. Like, all right, they say they're getting Primogems, but I know Hoyoverse. They're cheap. They're not gonna give you what you actually that could actually give you something. Like, give us like
I mean,
stuff. Give
so
us
if you
a
buy,
5-star.
so if you
give us a 5-star with each meal.
so if you redeem, if you buy a McChicken Deluxe meal or McChicken Deluxe, McChicken Crispy McChicken, you look like you get a winged glider and a name card, according to this. So it doesn't really seem like it's nothing insane. Ultimately, the other thing is, it's on the same borderline to me because I think they talked about this for Black Ops 6, and I'll bring this up because I've heard about it too. There's a gun in Black Ops 6 that cost, I think technically, it's gonna cost about $300, only because, or gun skin, not the gun itself, the gun skin, because how you get the skin is so rare because you have to go to this like, I think it's like a store or something. I forget how you're gonna get the gun exactly, but it's gonna be one of the rare gun skins in the game. It's kind of funny to me for like all the things they do for like stuff like that. It's like, I don't really get why. Because
we're consumerist America, man. We will buy anything if you tell us it's unique and rare. That's the point.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't make your gun shoot differently, but you're gonna spend $300 for the way it looks. Look at Fortnite. Fortnite has become a like fountain of money because of the game does not play differently, except for the very few skins that do, like the Airbender skins and stuff, because they actually come with, and it's not even the skins that come with the powers; it's the game. But you spend all this money for skins and collectibles and all this stuff on video games that don't do nothing. You're spending this money for no reason, not to mention the fact that games have gone up so considerably. Like, you're paying double for a video game and getting a third of the content. Then you got to pay double again for the next third, and then another. Don't get me started on America and video games.
But
and
here's the
propaganda.
thing. You bring up a point, and I'm gonna counter argue you for this one very fact. Think about the fact. Think about this. We went to Anime Mixuri. It's been about 4 weeks now. 4-5 weeks now. And the fact we saw some figures and swords that were a couple $100 to $150. Figures that are $150 to $200. Think about the fact most of the figures aren't worth that price, but yet we'll ultimately pay for that for quality, or we'll have to pay for it because we want it. That's the thing I'm kind of getting at.
It's more convenience at that point.
That is true. It is very much convenience. I
don't think that's a fair comparison though, B, because you're paying a little bit more because you're there and you can say, hey, I bought this when I went to and I did this. And then it's more for convenience and opportunity. It's not, I can download this and everybody in the world can download this, so I'm gonna just pay money for this. It doesn't make it. If everybody in the world can do it, it's not special anymore. People who didn't go to Anime Matsuri didn't get the chance to buy the stuff that we bought at Anime Matsuri. You can go get the stuff, but you didn't get it where we got it from. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
fair.
It's a difference.
you're right. I think the other thing is too, on the flip side of that coin, would you be upset? And I'm asking this in general, Deon, and that's both of y'all. I'll put it to both of y'all this way: if you've played in Genshin Impact, Chris, you played Call of Duty, and I'll say this: let's say both these companies went and said, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put something out at an anime convention that's gonna be exclusive to the convention, skin, whatever. Would you be more inclined to try to find it or go check it out if you knew you get something out of it from an anime convention or from another convention entirely, and it's not a food place? Because if that's the case, then that answer for me would be yes.
I think it depends for me.
I was about to say it depends. For me, it depends on the game.
Okay.
Because Call of Duty ain't
That's fair. That's fair.
Then it depends on what it is that you're getting to. Like if it's just like a skin or a dog tag or something like that, or like in this case with McDonald's, just a glider. Who cares? Right? Genshin isn't a game like Call of Duty where you're playing with a bunch of people and they all got different guns and it's like, oh cool, his gun is gold. Oh no, his is like his has Ninja Turtles on it or something like that. That's a difference. Genshin, nobody's gonna see what you have except for you and a couple of your friends that you may partner with and play with, or if you jump into randoms games, cool. But for the most part, it's a solo game. So who cares what glider you're using?
Yeah,
like
you're right.
Unless you're just a collector. Like
it goes back to something you said earlier, and something I think we can all agree on. It goes back to the Fortnite problem. Because you mentioned it, Fortnite has every skin under the sun now for every major property I can think of, including some anime properties, which probably shouldn't even get them, but hey. But the thing is, what they have done with that marketplace and how they do it, nobody can really replicate well enough anymore. And people have tried.
But no, wait. See, okay. But now this is where I gotta step in because you're not necessarily wrong, but you're not necessarily right either. Because when you look at how many games are now becoming pay to play, like after you buy the main game for however much you spend it on, you still have to go and buy DLCs as they come out to even complete the game. Like, now, come on, you gonna make me turn into my cousin Drew on this.
Okay, I agree with that. I do. But the thing is, here's the thing about this. I think it's funny. This is basically the cheapest form of doing buy one thing and get something for it. And yet it's still not worth it.
You're not getting anything.
You're not getting
anything. I'm sorry. As a Genshin player, bro, I have to say this is a cop-out. This is a cop-out for Hoyoverse. Complete cop-out. Because they're giving away things that they don't care that most players don't really value when it comes to the game. If you're giving out, you go buy a crispy chicken meal and you get, 200 Prima Gems or 500 Prima Gems. Cool. Bet I could get a couple 5 stars or at least make a couple wishes based off of that. Ain't no guarantee still, but I'm cool with that. But to give me a nameplate.
I got a perfect example of somebody who did it probably the best. Nintendo. Remember Nintendo? Remember
the Pokeballs?
Not even with the Pokeballs, because this came after that. But this is basically what the Pokeballs evolved to. There was a game that came out with the Nintendo Wii, and when you bought the physical game, it came with like a platform, and then you had to go and buy the little pieces at the store in order to get a new monster for the game.
Oh, you talking about that? It's Skylanders.
Yeah, yes. Skylanders. And actually, it is a fair
Skylanders.
comparison. It is a fair comparison because they did technically do that.
But see,
Yep.
the difference with Skylanders is you did not have to. With Skylanders, you still had a free to play option, just like Genshin. You still have a free to play option.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with Genshin is they're so big on character development and release, just like Skylanders is. But to give something away, you that's like Skylanders being like, yeah, we go give some stuff away. Here's a every time you buy a meal or buy, food, we're gonna give you a wallpaper.
Mm. Like
Yeah,
nobody that plays Skylanders would go for that. That was the
right.
point.
Who cares about the wallpaper?
Exactly. Now, see, I'll tell you what I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I play all of the Assassin's Creed games, so and I like the way that you put on armor in the newer games. So let's say that Assassin's Creed came out and said, "Hey, buy this meal and you get this piece of armor." Now that's something that everybody gonna go for, and then and it
Mm-hmm.
would have been cheap enough for them to do it because all you doing is get. You could have easily just say, "Hey, include this QR code," and then if people got the QR code, scanned it with their phones, they got the piece,
Eh,
and it could be any random piece. My bad. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I was gonna piggyback off that. If you want to go that far with it, a game that everybody's played, we might get another version of it down the road. Elden Ring, Elder Scrolls, that kind of stuff. I get that works because it's not gonna lose. Yeah, it's not gonna lose.
Mhm.
The value proposition is basically lower than how much you end up spending, or the value, the way you end up getting what you're getting. The company's not going to spend
From
as
what you're
much
spending.
what you're spending. So basically, they give you something that's kind of not really that high
Well,
value, but at least it's
the
something that
thing
you will
with those
actually use.
games, sorry,
No,
the
go ahead.
the thing with those games though, that's just why I'm an avid player of Elder Scrolls and Elden Ring and Souls games in general and stuff like that, is because once you buy the game, outside of some DLCs and stuff, that's it.
Yeah, that is
Yep.
it.
That's it. You don't have to expand if you don't want to.
No, you do
You
not.
know, just like Warframe, you can play Warframe for free, and you can choose to do things if you want to, but you can play the entire game without ever spending a penny. That makes you want to spend money on the game because it's like, oh snap, well, if they saved me money from buying a $60 game and having to buy a $60 DLC and like, bro, what? Yeah, I'll spend $20 here, $30 here, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you in Elder Scrolls and Elden Ring, well, particularly Elden Ring, but more Soul games, you can play them whenever.
Infinitely.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no cap to it. I love that. But you got games that are trying to come into this monetization of things. Like
Serious off.
Chris, you know this. Brandon, you know this too. Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny
Yep.
2. When Destiny 2 first came out, you could play an entire game without ever spending $1 on that game
Yep. That's true.
outside of the original purchase. Now you can't do anything, anything worth value in that game without buying something. Now, granted, because it is another game, they do have releases that are cheaper and affordable options, but you still have to buy it in
You
order
still the
to
vibe.
play.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, what's up with that?
To end this off, I'm gonna ask
No,
you
no,
about
no,
this.
no. You can't end this off yet. No, no, because I got one big one.
Okay,
One
go
freaking
ahead.
big one.
Go ahead. Go
Starfield.
ahead. Oh,
Starfield.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Starfield right now is the one that is capitalizing not only on other people but themselves as well. Bro,
Yeah, yeah.
there is no argument for that right now. Because Microsoft gave power to the creators to alter a platform game live. And some of those you do have to pay for.
You do. You do have to pay for them.
And
But
then
there,
some are free.
yeah, you do have to do that. Here's the big one that I think is the reverse of that problem. It's another Microsoft owned property. While we're getting down this rabbit hole, I think it's the other one, Call of Duty. Think about the fact that in Black Ops 6, none of your characters like Nicki Minaj, Snoop Dogg, um, Leatherface. I can go down the list of characters you can play as in Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2. All the characters from the boys. Um, none of that stuff carries over outside of Warzone. Here's the problem: most people don't play Warzone anymore, and it's funny to me because I think a lot of people are upset about that. But at the same time, the thing they're gonna do, and I could gladly see this happen. They're gonna go back when Black Ops has come out. They're gonna bring back Snoop Dogg. He'll come back in the game as a new version of the character in the game as a new playable character. They'll do the same thing with other character properties they want to do. So it's not like they just want to make the money off the sale of you rebuying certain things. Not surprising.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. I think the thing is,
it's a new game. At least
it is a new game. I agree with both of y'all in this sense. I think the thing is, if this was something where you gave me coins for Honkai Genshin, or something where I can pull a 5-star, or something where I can do wishes, then I can see it being more valuable. Outside of that, like you say, the glider doesn't really matter. The name card doesn't really matter. None of that stuff really matters to people because it's nothing really worth their time. How long it's gonna last, I don't know. But we're talking about this because I think it's something we just don't want to see anymore. I really don't want to see it. I think it's weird to have like collabs with GJK, all that stuff. I think it's.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I may be in the minority on this, but I love the collabs, bro. Just make it worthwhile.
You know, though, I felt like the collabs with the T-shirts and stuff like that were more promising.
Correct. Clothing stuff is gonna always
form for basic stuff, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's like, what I would remember. Maybe we're just too different on that. We're disagreeing again.
Do y'all remember like when kids' meal toys were good?
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't get the little paper cardboard cutouts and have.
Oh, absolutely. Like full motion. Yeah.
You got that plastic.
Like McDonald's used to give out Tamagotchis. Like
yeah.
You know, like they used to give out the Burger King used to have. Yeah. Like Burger King used to give out these Pokeballs with like the little Pokemon in there and these gold-plated Poke cards. Like it may not be big and like, oh, it adds value, but that's a collectible you can hold on to. You know what I'm saying? That's a figurine essentially that you can collect and hold on to. That's a little bit of value or that's, a decent amount of value for a little bit of money. Okay, I just bought a kid's meal. Cool. So if we did something like that, like give me a little D-Luke statue or something like that. I mean, just a little like 2-inch figurine or something with the Happy Meal. Give me a trading card or something that like I like it. Don't get me wrong, I like it. Like with the JJK, the special sauces, like that's cool. But give me a little bit of value for it.
You're saying value with a possibility of something that could become that would become a investment. It's hard to say that.
And it doesn't even have to be something that can become an investment, like as far as like a collectible item or something like that. But a sentimental investment, yeah, something that's like, oh man, look, D-Luke's my favorite character, so let me, hold on to this D-Luke card or something. Like it's cool. It's not necessarily the best thing, but it's cool.
Yeah, I see where you're going with it.
I think the thing is, and we're not. I think we all kind of get the same point. It needs to have some kind of value to it, and that's the thing. The value proposition has to be something interesting. I would be okay with the JJK ones. I would have been okay if you gave me a card, or like a card of the characters, or a little tiny little statue of each character. I would have been fine with that. The sauce thing kind of just seemed kind of random because they were all the same sauce when we talked about it on the podcast about a month ago now, or 2 months ago now, and it didn't just feel like it was just a thing to promote JJK, but they had no real good value because it didn't really do anything different outside the name. I think. Go ahead.
Y'all know who do these well? Collaborations,
Who?
movie theaters.
Yeah, they're probably the best at it.
Movie theaters do it so well. You get a collectible cup you can bring back and get refills of. Get the Deadpool or Wolverine popcorn bucket that you can refill, and it's got the mask on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff of value. You
Yep.
know, it's stuff that's able to not even say, "Oh man, I got this Wolverine," but it's just cute. Like, it's
And
not bragging, but it's just, oh,
and,
cool, I
and,
got
and the
this.
funny part
You know?
is, those Deadpool collectible popcorn things sold out so quick when the movie came out. It was
Yeah.
insane. I heard across the board, like most of the theaters had sold out them, which is even crazy because that tells me, like you say, it's just a collectible thing. It's something you want to keep on
It's just
your.
it's just something. I was there.
Yes, you were there.
That's all.
That's it.
I was there. I have my anime Matsuri thing and a lot of other not wristbands, but like lanyards and some wristbands of stuff that I've been to. Like uh Usher Super Bowl lanyard and stuff like that, just to say, hey, I was a part of that. Like,
I
Yeah.
that was a part of my lifetime. You know?
I
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do the same thing with my band T-shirts. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not nothing out of the ordinary. It's not a gold plated statue that says you did this, but let me hang on. You know?
Like I think we're all getting the same point. And I think that's the thing. Like it's a good idea, but this just doesn't feel right in execution. I will say this. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this, because ultimately it's kind of interesting because we're all from the same kind of era of like the 90s era of like the toys and the Happy Meal stuff, and just getting those little things that were just interesting to have, but also cool things that you said you got it. And that's still around, like you say, at movie theaters. But at the same time, when you see fast food places or things try to do it again and it doesn't really work that well, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not giving the value for
Getting
people to come.
cheap.
Correct.
Sorry.
Getting cheap and not doing what needs to be done for them. But we'll see. Well, I see the Genshin one's only lasting until the end of September 29th. The Attack on Titan one, we don't even have a start date for it. They didn't even say when the start date was for it. It's just something that's going to be happening. I'm assuming it's only going to be in Japan. I really can't see it come to the US, but if it does, it's probably going to be one of the lesser things as well.
I see it coming.
Yeah.
I see it coming.
But let's talk about this.
Consumerism.
Let's talk about the Demon Slayer movies. 3 movies that are coming out. And with this castle arc, it's kind of interesting because they kind of slightly confirmed the fact. So this is from Anime Hoven, which is a kind of like a site that looks up like data mines, looks up things. It's actually, there's a lot of them out there, so I'm not surprised by it. But they have said that they've said that the first movie is supposed to come out mid 2025, and that's between 3 different fights. I won't explain the fights because that'd be spoilers. If you read the manga, that's already a thing, but I won't go into the fights. The second movie is the beginning of 2026. 2 more fights. The last movie is the end of 2026, and that's the last 2 fights. I'm gonna start for Chris for this. Chris, what do you think about this timeline? If this timeline's correct, that last movie is not coming out until the end of 2026. Is that too long?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Ooh.
Because if they were putting out seasons, it'll come out the same way.
Okay. If they're putting out,
Furthermore, whew, this is the good part. The way that they put this, bro, they're gonna end up getting some American award for that, for one of those movies.
ooh,
And
so you're thinking that
in the way that they did it, they put themselves in the running for the next 3 years.
okay, okay.
Best
Yeah,
animated motion picture goes to
yeah.
Demon Slayer Infinity Castle.
Bruh.
I could see it. The thing is, what I'm worried about. So we're getting the first movie mid 2025. We're getting the second movie beginning of 2026, which kind of that timeline is short.
Possibly.
Hold on,
Possibly,
bro.
possibly, yeah. That time period is shorter, but you're going from the
Okay.
beginning of 2026 till the end of 2026. That seems like
Oh,
that time period is gonna be a little bit too long for people to wait. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just because the way movies come out nowadays, they take it so long to come out.
I just had a funny thought.
Go ahead.
Let's say
what?
every conspiracy about Hollywood is true.
Okay.
Can you imagine the faces they're gonna have when a show called Demon Slayer comes up in the audience, and then they have a picture of Muzan looking like Michael Jackson?
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's not. Mm, yeah, I don't think they're touching that. They're not touching that. Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Just saying.
Yeah, you're not
Just putting it
wrong.
out there.
You're not wrong.
Somebody doing a live action version.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get that down the road. That's something that's
Oh, we
well,
knew that was coming.
they're doing the plays right now in Japan, so or the live action stage play. So that is gonna be a thing
Look,
eventually.
all
But
I need, because I believe Netflix can do it, is short enough. It's short enough. Hey, I already know how Deon feel about it, but look, the episodes and the seasons are already short enough for them to do it. They shouldn't have to
I think
do
they put
any altering of the shows at all. They should not have to. Yeah, they should be able to do a one-to-one recreation. Especially if they give it a few years and let technology advance, it has a good potential to do it.
okay, okay. So I have a question for both of y'all because y'all both think the timeline is not, if that timeline is true, you don't think it's odd. So then my question is, if that timeline is correct, when do you think we would get the first marketing for the first movie? They're saying mid 2025. So do we get the first marketing in the beginning of 2025?
It's already marketing. The
But
fact that we know the dates is marketing.
okay, okay. I'm saying like
But we
trailer
don't know the dates. It's all speculation.
speculation, but we know the years. We
It's
know
all based off production time.
yeah, so we know years. But I'm saying if when we get to our first true
Okay.
trailer of showing this off.
Still, we know presumable years because if they get done with it all in 2025,
Yeah, they could sit on it if they wanted to. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's an interesting way to think about it.
The question is
or show it all at one time.
what kind of cliffhanger are they gonna leave in each movie?
If each movie is set based on a fight, I think the fights will be your cliffhangers because not much story in the last arc of the book, if I remember correctly. There is story, but the story is very little in few and far between because everything up to that point. Everything up to that point is all fight. So I hope genuinely the cliffhangers will be interesting enough to where it's not going to be feels out of place. And I
I
think that's
think
going to go ahead.
if for some reason we were watching a movie and we don't get a conclusive fight by the end of the movie, I'm gonna be highly upset.
When you say conclusive, what do you mean?
A clear winner, like somebody is dead at the
Oh,
end of the
okay,
fight,
okay,
and
okay.
then y'all try to say that cliffhanger to the next movie, I'm gonna be real pissed.
I think you're right, but also the other thing this is doing with all these leaks and things talking about this stuff, it's giving people high expectations. Their expectations of what these last 2 movies are going to be are super high, which is a good and bad thing. Good because that means even Taylor's done a good job with their previous stuff. Bad because I don't think they can handle. I think bad if fans think they're way too like the expectations fan have, but the expectations info table have don't match up, and I think that's going to be the other problem with this if it doesn't work out.
I mean, though, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Expectation is what their marketing is all about, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
See,
That's fair.
because fans have that expectation, marketing has something to work with. They just have to make sure that they deliver, but they have a track record of delivering. So it's ugh. Like at this point, like Brandon, you
Mm-hmm.
were asking me if it's too long. Ask yourself, why do you think it's too long?
I just think it's too long because that's almost a year and a half.
You're
The
absolutely right.
Okay, what are you getting at?
Think about how long it takes to produce an animated movie.
Oh, good amount of time. Yeah.
So the fact that they're producing three in that short amount of time, see now that what actually brings up a concern to me
Okay.
because that either says that the movies are going to be short or the quality is not going to be there.
Okay.
They're already
Okay.
working on them.
That's fair. That's also fair. Uh. Okay, Deon, you brought up a point earlier, and I want to go. I want to kind of roll back into this. You brought up the point they could all be working on, and also you brought up the point they could all be done. All can get done at the same time, the same time period, or they can all be one thing, one movie with just little breaks in between. Which one would you prefer? In the sense of like, if it was all one movie, just breaks in between, would you be okay with that?
If you break at a good point.
Okay. Okay.
If you break at a decent point to where you're not leaving me like what was that? What was the thing we watched? And I was like, yo, this is seems off.
Oh, well, we watched Shy
Was
because
it
of
Shy?
I think Shy had a couple of those where it like broke off in different weird points. Yeah.
If you give me a great story and you leave it off on the even on the decent. No, it was Terminator we were talking about.
Yeah, Terminator. That's right. That's right.
It was
Because you said you will.
Terminator we were talking about. Had you not given me all 8 episodes of Terminator, I'd be peeved. That's one of those. Oh, I gotta wait for this. But if you give me good fights, good scenes, and you cut it off as a good timeline, not just 20, 30 minutes. It's not a movie. I need a good timeline. We're good. We're going.
Okay. Okay. I I Generally, I'll be interested to see what we officially get. There's still a lot, like I said, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of things out there right now. Nothing's really set in stone. It's just kind of interesting because the hype is real. The hype is intentionally real. And it's just kind of like, will the hype override a lot of people's expectations, or will the hype fuel people's expectations? Because Evil Tables has done a good job with Demon Slayer. They've done an amazing job with Demon Slayer. At the same time, it's just kind of like, all right, you know what you've done. It's the balls in your court. At this point, I don't see them messing up with it. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be who can be able to wait that long, because a lot of people probably haven't read the manga, or people who have are just waiting to see this out. People who haven't read the manga and want to see what this is about probably itching to find the manga, which I was trying to do, trying to finish out the manga myself. I know of the story because I've heard it through like YouTube videos and all that, but like just finish it and read it for myself so I have some get ready for it when it does come out. So I have some context. We'll see. I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting as all get out to see where they go. And I think the last thing I would want to see is just all this stuff get out. People talking about like crazy, and yet then something drastic happens where they lose the ability to market the movies, or things get leaked. Would rather not see one of those two things happen. And the second one's more prevalent, I think, the leaking than the first. But we'll see. I'm interested. I like to see where this is going. I appreciate like Chris and Deon have found this stuff too. So like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, somebody's like projecting what could happen with the next couple of years. I was a little bit skeptical, but I could see it. I could see it happen. It's not out of the realms of possibility, but yet it's one of those things where we just haven't got nothing from official sources. We do know they're doing it. We do know there are 3 movies. We do know this and that and the other. It's just how much that they're going to give us that information before the ball starts rolling, kind of thing. But let me know in the comments what you think about with this alleged timeline. How you think that's all going to work out? Maybe also for most, I want to know what would you want the timeline to be, or what would you think the timeline should be? Because I think ultimately for me, I would like end of 2025, beginning of 2026, end of 2026. That way, at least it's a lesser gap between the movies, and ultimately the gaps doesn't feel too disjointed. But we'll see how that all.
Just give them all. Tell me right now.
Say that again, Chris.
So you would prefer a year gap from now till then?
I would prefer not a year gap, but I would prefer if they came out within a year of them, within a year. So we start at the end of 2025. By the end of 2026, all of them have been out in theaters at that point.
But technically, isn't that what they're doing?
Well, they're saying
the last one might not be till the end of 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's technically 3 years.
Yeah, and they're starting in the middle of 25, which is also kind of like weird. So that kind of doesn't, that timeline.
And we're not getting anything from them the rest of this year, so they technically have a whole year
to work on it.
So technically, they're giving themselves a vacation.
Yes,
maybe
a little bit of break, which I would totally be down for. Like I've told people in the past, I'll say this multiple times when it comes to gaming. I rather they don't rush something and don't put it out there without a good and like don't crunch to try to put the point out there.
No, so, I'm not getting any younger. Push it out.
Yeah, fair.
I want to see this in my lifetime when it's still cool. No, I don't want to be old.
But at the same time,
Tanjiro on the screen there. Yeah. No,
but at the same time, I think I would rather have. I think the thing is like at least if that time frame worked out, where it's like within a year, then you could put them on Crunchyroll pretty quickly after that, and they could already, be ready to somebody who doesn't go to the theaters and watch them. Because we already talked about that too, where people don't go to the theaters and watch movies anymore. So I hope that's not, that's not the case.
Nah, see, I would be okay with that. Put them in the theaters and not put them on Crunchyroll for a little while. Put them
Okay.
in theaters and let them cook,
Okay.
and then put on Crunchyroll later. Make me feel special for going to see it in theaters.
Correct. Correct. Which is the other way around? You could do that. So it ultimately works either way. But let's get into these anime charts. And I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know what's going on with the drama genre, but man, did something change. I don't know what changed. Um so I Hide My Feelings in Russian is at 1, went up 4 spots. Days with My Stepsister dropped a spot to 2. 2.5 Dimension Seduction went up 6 spots to 3. Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest went up 4 spots. No Longer Allowed in the World went up 1 spot to 5. Too Many Loser Herons went down 3 spots. Wands, Restoria, Wands and Swords drops 3 spots to 7. The Loose Samurai went up 8 spots, or went up 2 spots to 8. Excuse me, said that backwards. The Cafe Terrace went up to 9, went up 8 spots to get to that point. And Mission Yokohama Family went up 4 spots to 10. Deon, what do you think about this chart?
Honestly, bro, I'm seeing a lot of green on this chart, and
I agree.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. 2.5, cool. It's getting to be a popular anime right now. But what I'm really taking away is Fairy Tale actually getting some love,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fact that Astoria, Wand and Sword actually dropped. And I'm not sure if that's because of that being a bad episode or everything else just being good.
It's I'll let Chris go first, then we can get an explanation. Chris, what do you think about these charts?
Look, man, all of a sudden I want to catch back up on my How's My Feelings in Russian because I knew it was going to get really sentimental at some point. So I'm not surprised to see it at the number 1 spot. Days of My Stepsister, yeah, we already know. 2.5 taking the 3rd spot. It's kind of surprising.
It isn't. It isn't.
I mean, I need to catch back up with that one as well. Man, Deon said it with Fairy Tale, like finally getting some love. Like honestly, like I feel like Fairy Tale is. I'm not sure if they're continuing, but they could possibly be in the running for next season too, if they were continuing. Even though with Story a drop, they're still in the top 10. And
Yeah.
yeah, and Cafe, if y'all haven't watched that one, it's actually kind of sweet, but it is a lot of
I heard
and
Cafe Terrace was good. I
yeah,
do understand that one.
it has a
Go
fair
ahead.
amount of fan service.
Yeah, that's the other thing I heard about it. Fair
So
Is that why it jumped 8 spots?
possibly.
Is it on High Dive or is that on
No,
Crunchy?
it's on Crunchyroll.
Oh, that's odd. Okay.
Hmm.
That's very odd. When you said, I'm like, huh.
That's why I said, man, I don't know about Crunchyroll now. If you know what to look for, it's probably on there.
Yeah, I don't think Crunchyroll is hiding things anymore. They just kind of jumped in the deep end.
But okay, if they're not hiding anything, then just put it out there. I don't get the whole. And this is another topic for another day, but I don't get the whole. You you trying to be this wholesome company, but yet you don't want things like High School DxD, High School of the Dead, just showing up.
It's on there.
It is, but it's not. If it is on there, but it's funny when they put it on there from Funimation, it just kind of was like in the background.
Okay, they're not advertising that they have it. Like I said, you just have to know what you're looking for.
And then these are also older anime. Like, you gotta remember, yeah, they're popular, but they were released almost 10 years ago.
They were.
I wouldn't promote them either. When you got things like JJK that just, made a big splash. And then this season is full of big names. And even the smaller sleeper names are doing great. Like Osan, the Osan Adventurer and Not Allowed in
another world. Yeah.
World. Like, they're doing great. So I don't think that they're not promoting them. I just think that they have more things to promote.
I think the thing is, and I will say this with all respect, and I think it's funny because I also thought it was kind of interesting when they did it. To me, 2.5, when I caught up to it, the story they're telling and the way they talk about cosplay and the way they talk about that kind of world is so interesting to me because they actually really deal with some of those things you actually see in being a cosplayer. And it's so interesting to me because they're actually doing it well enough. Same with VT Legend, which I also finally got up on. And it's just like you're telling interesting stories that have interesting backgrounds to them, and yet it doesn't feel out of place. But yet it also feels like you don't really want to engage with it, but you kind of have to engage with it. I don't know. I think it's kind of sad because these dramas are doing well. These dramas are doing amazingly. And yet I think they're not getting the praise they deserve. Because if you're saying, Chris, that Hide My Feeling Russians is very sentimental and nice, then the first couple episodes doesn't give it justice.
Well, if you remember, in the first episode, they did give a little bit of fan service.
They did.
So and we haven't been caught up, so we don't know to the extent if they took that any further or if it really is a wholesome story. We need to catch up and figure out why it made the #1 spot.
I think the other side of that coin is something I think about too, is like, what's the other one I heard that I thought was kind of interesting? Oh, and it's one that I think is also kind of, it's like The Elusive Samurai. I think it deserves more praise than it's getting because it's really well done. Like that whole way of doing things is so interesting, and yet it kind of falls by the wayside because it's a different type of story. It doesn't have all the like bells and whistles, and it's just kind of like it doesn't. It's more of the old school style. But I also think too, when Wands and Swords is not that strong, and yet it's doing the thing I think you should be doing with Wands and Swords, because the Wands and Swords is like a better mash, but yet it's losing out on things that are more drama based. I think that's the kind of like, okay, what's actually going on with this story, or is it just kind of not great anymore, or something just going on with the fandom, with the anime fandom, because I don't think they know what they want anymore, to be totally honest. I don't know. We'll see. If I look at the rest of this, and it's kind of interesting. Hold on one second. So My Hero's at 11, Pseudo Harem's at 12, My Dear Friend Nokata is at 13, Nier Automata is at 14, Failure Frames at 15. It got up higher finally. Spice and Wolves at 16. The Time I Got Reincarnated Slime is at 17. What Does Nobody Remember is at 18. And My Dear Moments at 19. How I Became Ordinary is at 20. Chris, what do you think about the 11 through 20? Because that tells me 11 through 20 is actually pretty strong, but they just can't crack that top 10.
For me, it tells me that we haven't been wrong, and what we said has been good shows. Just haven't been getting a lot of love. Like honestly, because everything that we talked about so far has okay. Right now, this chart shows us that everything we said was going to fall did fall, and everything we said was good that wasn't on the top is now sitting pretty. Is towards the end of the season is sitting in the top spots. So
yeah. I think that's gonna be the thing I'm gonna be interested by the most is what's the fall season gonna bring. The fall season's gonna have heavy hitters already. Like I said, I'm waiting until we see more of it to really talk about it. But it's scary to me because drama is going to sit there for a bit. I think drama and isekais are going to be there for a bit, and there's nothing that can change that. Unless you just ultimately can really find a way to go, okay, find something else that's going to have
find something else that's gonna have a little bit more oomph to it.
Yeah, a little more oomph, a little more like just something to sink your teeth in. And I think that's not a bad thing. I don't think dramas are a bad thing. I don't think isekais are a bad thing. I think it's just like, okay, what's next? And there's not a what's next to that equation. So what's next is who can stay on top. Because ultimately, with the other question that is what I was surprised by is when you saw what was the show? Mission Yokohama Family come back in the top 10. It's still going on, and yet we haven't kept up with it. Neither one of us have kept up with it. And yet it's doing. So what is that all about?
Right, because it seems like that show might have evolved. It was started out looking like a kid show, then got a little bit more serious. Probably got a lot serious by now. So that's what I would like to see.
It's interesting because I think that's not the thing I was hoping it was. I don't think the summer season has been bad, but I think the summer season has been different.
Well, okay. For this season, we haven't gotten a lot of what I've been like to call heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only heavy hitters this season to me were probably Fairy Tail, Slime, and truth be told, that's probably it. You know, especially since I'm not really watching some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Not to say that there aren't any other heavy hitters, but you know, when you compare them to like Kaiju 8 or Attack on Titan or shows that carry a lot of fans with that, you know, it's different.
Mm-hmm. I think the big thing I'm learning now is just that it is easy to make an isekai, it's easy to make a drama, it's hard to make a shonen. It's hard to make an action adventure. It's not difficult, it's hard. And I feel like that's going to be the downfall eventually, where dramas and stuff are going to take over that shonen era because there's nothing that shonen can be strong enough anymore.
But there just aren't a lot of showing out right now, and some of the best ones we know of are coming to an end.
Yes, they are. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. But there's a feeling there that I think there's not going to be much in the way of like much in the way of what's going to really make this sharp. I feel glad that Fairy Tail's up there. I feel glad that certain things up there. I don't feel like it's gonna be one of those things where will they hit the top 5? No, but will they stay in the top 10? Yeah, because that's their ceiling because they give other stuff there as well. Go ahead for me and talk about the other chart. I want to see how this changes.
Okay, bro, because this other chart is man. Okay, so number one, we have too many losing heroines. Number two is Hide My Feelings in Russian.
Okay.
3, Spice and Wolf. 4,
Okay.
Wisteria. 5, The Elusive Samurai. 6, My Hero, which I caught up on, by the way.
Same.
7 is Reincarnated as a Slime. 8 is the Montagati series. 9, Days of My Stepsister. And 10, Pseudo Hero.
So it's flipped, basically. In this case, it's flipped
Man.
where what's the show that goes first? What's first on the list? Oh, Loser Heroines is first, and Russian is second. Even though Loser Heroines on the other one is only sixth.
Yeah.
So people actually watching Loser Heroines, which is actually kind of insane to me, but not that surprising.
But get this.
Okay.
Where was 2.5, right?
Third.
On here it's number 13. No, I'm sorry, it's number 18. It's 18.
Oh, geez, that means something. That means something really. That means people ain't watching it, and people are just talking about it. Which, yeah.
Okay, and then my Cafe Terrence.
My Cafe Terrace is at 10 or no 9.
It's number 20.
Oh, so I wonder what happened. I really do, because that tells me then that people are not really watching.
Fans are completely split.
Because that one is from Reddit, which is like people actually watching, right? Not just.
This is Anime Weekly Engagement. This is where they actually get, they talk about why shows are rated, blah blah blah. They get into a lot of the same stuff that we talk about.
Okay. So it's a pretty good indicator of what's going on. Okay, it's weird then. That's just weird. I don't know why. It just seems kind of odd that it doesn't feel like there's nothing there, but it also feels like there's something there. Like there's something there. Because that tells me then the fan base is who actually watches it and engages with it. But then the Anime Corner one tells you no people are engaging with it and watching it. But just on votes alone, the two don't correlate. Because if that's the case, 2.5 is somewhere in the middle. I think 2.5 is somewhere in like your 8, 9, 10 range, more or less. Not your 4, or not your 3, 4, 5. Well, not 3, 4, 5. Not your 13, 14, 15 range.
It's just hard to say because I mean, people are split between what they like and well, I'm not gonna get into that, but it just
I know.
seems like
I know what you're getting at.
everybody's pretty content with what's out right now,
Oh yeah, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see everything doing well. I'm just more inclined to wonder what changed. What changed? What changed? How it changed? All that kind of stuff. But we'll see. You never know.
Yeah.
I have a question for you then. What do you think our top 3 will be at the end of the year? End of the summer season? Because now that's kind of interesting to see where everything's fallen. Where we're at week. This is week. What week is this?
Okay, so
10. We have 2 weeks left.
Okay, and I'm not giving these in any specific order.
Okay.
Okay. Oshinoko, unfortunately.
Okay.
Hides my feelings in Russian.
Okay.
And Days of My Stepsister.
Okay. That is not one I would expect you to say.
It's not, but that's just the trend of this season.
This season. Yeah. I think that's the other thing. I'm like, oh, it's trending that way, which is good
Yeah,
and bad, but we'll see. Um,
which means number 4 through 10 is still open. Now
yeah.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
the dog fight.
I think the big thing will be if those are your top three, then we definitely know that we're not getting anything crazy within within the next like couple weeks. Like we have a couple weeks left. We're not getting, or if we're gonna get some crazy like ending cliffhangers or something, that's gonna be the big thing to end on. But we don't know that yet. Like we don't have a clue if that's gonna be the case. But if it is, cool. If it's not, cool. Um, but I'm also kind of wary because I'm like, I don't know what you could do to really have that uh that like big boom period where it's like, okay, um, what can you do? What can you do next to make it something different? Because I think if shonen don't if shonen can't really fight back, it's going to be a long year.
Well, I mean, they are fighting back.
They
I
are
mean,
they are
look at
they are
Dragon
fighting
Ball.
back.
Look at
Yeah,
Bleach.
Dragon Ball Bleach are fighting back. That's the
Yep.
like things I that's the things I hope that fight back if they can at least get some legs under them. Um, but we'll see. Um, but let me know what y'all think in the comments about these charts. These charts are kind of getting not solidified, but they're getting more defined. I think they are solidified at the top. The back half is where the moving around is happening. So you're 7 through 10, 7 through 15. These are more moving. It's actually kind of funny because Oshinoko is not on this list, but I think they're done right now. If I'm correct, they're on a break. I don't know.
Well, if they're done, then this chart might change a little bit more than expected. Then.
Yes, it may change a little more than expected. But that like they're not on here, and there's a couple other things not on here. But I think that's because I think they're done and they're not. They just finished out their season, or they're splitting their season in two cores. But let's get into Dungeon People episode 9. This episode was actually kind of interesting. This episode was titled
King and
King's
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master, which is actually kind of interesting because I don't know where they're going to take it. If they take it, if I'm thinking where they could take it, they can really give us some more explanation behind our main like admin person. If not, the only thing I could see them doing is more her stuff. But I'm down for whatever. So you really can go either way with this. But I'm looking to see what really is going to kick the next section off. Because the next section of this, like we only have 2 episodes left after this, or 3 episodes left of this episode. So what is this really gonna? Where is this gonna lead us at the end of this? We really still need some answers for a couple things. We don't really have answers for a couple things, but we're gonna get the answers down the road. But in a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Chris, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. King and Dungeon Master. Pause for me.
Pause.
Deon, can you hear us? I think he jumped back in. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we just got the episode up. King and Dungeon Master for Dungeon People. So we're about to start. Just tell me when you're ready.
You want me to start from 0 then?
Yeah, we're gonna start from 0. All right. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Wait, they're talking more about the city. Huh. Still one of the better openings.
I do agree with that. It is one of the better openings. So while this intro is going, my hero. What in St. John? I haven't watched the
They're
last 2
getting
episodes. I haven't watched the
they're
last 2
getting to
episodes.
their arc now. They're getting to what they need to get to. It just
Oh,
took a
because
bit.
I mean, like, oh snap!
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Like for real, all hell has broken loose.
Oh yeah.
I mean, old dude came. All of them came back. I was like, what?
Oh yeah. It was just that insane. Which makes sense. That's the point. Like they're having, it's trying to beat Shigaraki, so that's the like they have to kind of like get it ready to come back just for that one point.
No, I'm talking about the villains.
Oh yeah, that too. Everybody, all those villains came back too. Wait, the king was the young kid we saw in the earlier scene. So it's a barter system with the dungeon, so it can give the country money, but also them weapons.
Yep.
Interesting.
So it's their way of paying for their land and taxes.
Mm. But why does her dungeon garb look like a priest outfit?
There's a lot of questions to be asked that I don't think we're gonna get answers to.
We're not gonna answer to, but it just kind of has that priest looking out like style.
Yeah.
Armor. Wait, I made outfit. All right. What she trying? She trying to take her sword.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why were you preparing for something like this a day before? You need to prepare like a couple days before, a week before.
But when I prepare too early, I tend to lose all sorts of things. Well, there's your answer.
All right, fair enough. The hoarding kind of goes back to that.
Mm.
Always wears priest-like gowns, so
Yep. Yeah. This is the first time we've seen the outside the dungeon since the first episode. Technically.
Yep.
yeah, except for like flashbacks, maybe.
Yeah, flashbacks is the only exception where we saw more of the outside, but
Or whenever we saw the Thieves Guild transfer, but that's it.
correct. Why is he here? Fair no mind. Saying what? Why would you? Why would you agree to that?
Ooh,
Wow, she used all her force there, didn't she?
it looked like it.
So what's the purpose of this? Just to keep a contract, and yet why have men fight? Yeah, I bet you forget who she is, right?
No, they didn't know who she was.
All right, they don't know she's a thief, so they don't know that she can do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Wow.
You thought study. Yes, sir. Yes, she could.
I don't even trust that surrender, and you're doing it so nicely.
Nah, he finally scared.
Okay, fair enough.
This is genuinely funny.
What? We go into like some. Oh, I can explain it. What the? Wait, you're hitting on the maid. Why are you hitting on the maid?
You like what he see?
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, I get it, but it's also kind of weird. 'Cause it's the second character to do that in this series. There was one earlier that did it. I'm just like, it doesn't feel right. So you like her? Okay, that was a very interesting episode. Like, know, I don't know where they're taking this because each episode's been self-contained, and it's odd, surprisingly, the self-contained episodes have been kind of interesting because it's not really combined any. They really haven't connected to anything else very often, but this episode tried to. Um, what ideas? Chris, I'll let you review it however you want to review it, and yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this episode is pretty easy to review because we start out by seeing our dungeon master in his large, oversized gown, robe, or whatever. Even
Mhm.
Brandy, even you said she looked like a priest, and I didn't really have an answer for that because it was like, honestly, she almost looked like somebody who was getting ready to go to sleep. So it was like,
Yeah.
shoot, I even could have mistaken her as the fairy godmother from Cinderella or something. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay. But after they went in there and finally sized it up for her and made it look better, then I'm skipping the whole part about how they explain how what they're about to do involves the politics they have with the kingdom. So basically, because of the gems and the weapons that they make, depending on how far you get into the dungeon, they really come out as really world class items, and or really so. Doing so, they have a contract with the kingdom in order to keep their contract going with them, so they don't have overage of money or underage of money. And the only reason that the guild or the dungeon approves of it is simply because they're using the land. That's really so.
Mhm.
It's more of to me. That's kind of like a petty move, but hey, I get it. So then we get into they get use a dungeon circle. They get into and here comes the king and these fighters, and they're mistaking her because she's a girl, and everybody's like, okay, this ought to be easy. Little do they know, no. And then, as these guys are getting their butts whooped by the dungeon master, he decides that he's gonna do a fire move and try to hold our main character hostage. Like that is the dumbest thing because she literally just uppercuts him and has him laid out, and then put
Yep.
him, yep, just laid out. Then she put him in a lock, hold him there. And all of a sudden, the king has a crush on her.
Yeah, that plot point was weird. I don't really know why that's there, but I kind of get
And I mean, and the funny part is that she went as far as gave him a false alias,
it. Yeah.
and now they're in trouble. And it was like, look, come on, dude. She clearly was not even noticing you in the room. So Get a hint.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know. This episode was good. I think the episode has a little bit. There's something there. There's something there. I think the way they're kind of building the story and kind of getting things rolling, fun, interesting. I'm kind of interested to see where they would take the rest of this story because the rest of the story seems kind of like we have 3 episodes left. So now, what do you do? Do you try to figure out what the alias thing was? Do you make sure she doesn't get caught? There's a couple different routes you can go. We still have nothing from her dad about her dad, so that's kind of still kind of in the back burner. Um, Deon, what do you think about this episode? If you had any thoughts, because I think ultimately this episode's really well done, but I think there's like a few things that can be ironed out. Maybe kind of give it more flavor.
I mean, but the fact that they gave us that bit about the world, kind of, and I mean, the one thing I can't stand about this show is that everybody looks so young, even though they're playing older characters. It's like it's really kind of
Mm-hmm.
jarring.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
are they actually playing older characters though?
I mean, they don't give us any ages, honestly. The only
I
difference is
mean,
that we
because if
actually
you,
see them as a kid and they're next to something, you know.
because the only reason why I say that is when we see her dad in flashbacks, he's an older guy, like
Yes.
clearly.
True.
And then the gentleman that just tried to kidnap her was a clearly older guy. So it's like, are these just younger people holding these higher positions?
Maybe so. You do have a point to that.
Well,
But it's still just so jarring.
at that point too, if that was the case, it doesn't seem like it's out of place because ultimately, we don't know the age of our main character, so that wouldn't really matter. They're intentionally keeping that vague because if the age of our main character came out, that would indicate what the age of the rest of the cast would be. Right now, you don't really have a reason to know that because they really haven't given you reason to understand that. You know, she's more of a kid under their world because the adults are older, like Dion said, older gentlemen. Her dad was older at the time, and the flashback things. Outside of that, you don't really need to know anything else because the kid that's the king can technically be young. His bodyguards can be young. All that stuff. Our little dungeon master can be young. So it
Which is
doesn't
a typical anime thing too, to have a young king and
correct.
adventurers are young.
So there's nothing out of the ordinary here, but I do agree. It kind of does. It can be jarring if you don't understand, if you don't have that context. But they haven't gave us that context, which ultimately I don't think they will. Don't need it, but it's just like
Yeah.
you just have to assume they're playing with somewhat traditional roles for the most part. Of age-wise, they're young kids, but they're holding these high-level roles, like Dion said, just because the way they are. Um, yeah, I think this show is interesting. I think it's still kind of neat. I think everything has been pretty well kind of talked about. I will ask you, gentlemen, this before we get to Shy episode 22. Get that up for me, and we'll get into that in a second. Dion, what would you give Dungeon People episode 9 for a rating?
Uh Man, honestly, I would have to give it like a good 7.58.
Okay.
Um, the beginning kind of was drawn out with the whole outfit conversation and
Yeah.
all of that. The fight itself, though, I want to say it was good, but it was kind of predictable.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, I don't have too many, so it's hard to give it anything lower than that just because a fight was predictable. I mean, I'm pretty good at predicting how fights will go. So, you know, I almost feel bad for giving it that, so I'm gonna just give it a solid 8. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Okay. Um, Chris, what would you give Dungeon People episode 9 for a rating?
Yo, man, as predictable as the fight was, because I mean, you even saw the outcome, and it even gave our main character like a bit part in it. Because I mean, why would you try to sneak up on our main character, even though they probably don't know that's the main character? Anyways, it was a nice getting out of the dungeon to see a part of the world. So I'm going to give this like a good 8.7.
Okay. I'm I'm interested. I'm kind of not torn. I'm interested because I think I agree with both of y'all. The fight was predictable, but I don't think that's a bad thing because ultimately what they ended up doing to make that fight not predictable, in the sense they had a backup plan to try to stop the main character, but the main character was way too savvy to have that happen. The only thing I will have to knock it for, and this is the second person to do it in this show, somebody likes our main character. The problem is our main character don't give two tosses about the person. She would rather not. She'd care less. I think that plotline's kind of weird there, but I'm guessing the king likes her because she's not. She's like him, kind of ruthless. I say ruthless, giant quotation marks. But she's not. She's more cunning, and she can understand what she needs to do to help. Help our dungeon master, all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, the one thing that I think they left here that's kind of interesting, our dungeon master is um our dungeon master likes our main character. So we kind of know there's something going to be going on with that. In the sense, like I think she likes her as a friend, but she also keeps her around all that stuff myself. All that stuff we kind of can figure out from inferring other things. So I'd have to give this like a 9. Ultimately, the only thing that gets a point off, I think, for me, is the kind of like love story they're trying to tell with all these like two of these characters. The one from early in the season, the king here. I'm not counting the dungeon master in this because I think she's more genuine. She just want to be friends with her, and we've seen that before. But I think everything else works okay. I think some of the flashback stuff where the flashback talking about the fight and just kind of she didn't want to hurt them. She just wanted to kind of keep everything neutral. No, the guy was like, no, you have to just destroy them, beat them, destroy them, get out, get them done. That's what she ended up doing. But ultimately, I can't see it going bad one way or the other. I just want to make sure. I want to be interested to see what they do with last 3 episodes because last 3 episodes are going to explain, hopefully, what's going on with the father, what goes on with the dungeon, and what's really our what's really our dungeon master and main character's motivation to be in the situation they're in right now, which we haven't really fully gotten. But yeah, I think it's a good episode. Still a good show. It's one of the few shows where I'll be like, anybody can watch this and love it because they do explain things so well. To the most part, I think that's a genuine thing. I would never say they don't. But let's get into Shy episode 22. And here's my thing with this. Last week, we got one of the most epic episodes I think we've gotten in a while for Shy. It felt like we were watching season 1 again. It did, for the most part. Because season 1 did that, where one of the episodes was really strong. I wonder what this episode is going to bring us because now we're getting to the back half of the season. We have 2 episodes left, and now we need to see what they're really going to do. I hope we get some more story. I hope we can get other things really out there, but we'll see where this goes. But in a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, we're starting off with the intro right away. Okay. So That means I have a hunter. We're about to get a lot.
That
of
means
story
going
stuff.
straight into action.
A lot of action, a lot of story stuff.
I think we're gonna get a lot of go right into a punch.
That'd be funny.
I'm not gonna hold my breath yet, cause yeah,
It is shy.
yep.
Ow.
Yeah, that's true. Dang, Chris, you pay me.
But he's being honest. He's being honest. He's being honest. I'm not surprised. He's
I
being
had
honest.
hope.
I mean, have your hope, have it, but just don't let it crush you.
It's funny because this gives me that and like I said last week, it's still gonna. I wanted this gives me the same like Death Play Death vibes where they did the last half of the first season and the last half of the second season just kind of like crammed everything story wise and just kind of gave you everything. It's just like, where did this all come from? But it made sense. It was like, okay, fair enough. So they split them back apart now. Okay.
Dang it, story.
Don't want to fight. I want to talk. All right. We're gonna get a long expedition thing or exposition.
And just like that, I'm back off shy.
Stop saying that was gonna happen though. I had a hunch it was gonna be somewhere. Somewhere we get the long expedition.
Like, why are you throwing this very special blade down?
She don't want to kill her. She said she didn't prior to that.
Just don't attack her. You don't have to throw it down. She clearly want to kill you still.
Okay, I have to give him credit. You tried it back to the first season. And this season, actually. Whoa. What the world was that? Oh, well, that didn't work. Is it the soul on the undead? The world? Oh,
That's still not enough. It's not enough friendship.
wait, this is the right amount of like, well.
I mean,
Huh?
we still haven't seen the little shinobi dude that was supposed to have been
Wait,
on his
what?
way 3
What?
episodes ago.
Well, you just got your
Yeah.
wish. Shit, okay, you called that. All right. All right. What the?
Knew it.
Uh,
It wasn't enough.
she truly cared to write a pardon for your life instead of the punishment of death. This is so interesting. What are they trying to tell? Huh. That's interesting. I went saw. Oh. Oh.
Isn't that the same thing that happens when they put that ring on?
Kind of, yeah. It's pretty much the exact same thing. There we go. Then answer your question, Chris.
Yep.
Yep. She has changed for good. Huh? Oh. She's making a giant bear with claws. Whoa. That was an episode of Shy, episode 22. I'm gonna make this short and sweet because there was a lot of talking in the beginning. Basically, we get Shy not gonna fight. She wants to talk. They try to talk to her, it doesn't really work because the sister's like, "Why are you talking? I don't really want to talk." Then the shinobi guy pipes up, and he pipes up and he talks about the way the sister prayed for her day, did all this stuff for her, ultimately never gave up on her. And if you want me to, I'll fight alongside you and I'll destroy all of them if you want me to. He even brings that up, and she's like, you really do that? Why? Just because you're our friend." Then ultimately, the sister wakes up. She starts talking to her. They go back and forth. She talks about all the memories they had. She talks about everything. And this gets boiled down to the point where the sister slowly breaks down and she's like, "All right, we'll get back together." But she can't because she's been chained to these curses and things for a long time. And she finally breaks the chain. She tries to join her sister, and then everybody else comes back, and all the other evils come back and try to stop her from doing this. Basically, a fight ensues. This fight's not really long. It's just a way to kind of get the sisters back on the same page. Basically, they turn this giant bear into a giant destructible bear with diamond teeth, claws, and great. Like, okay, cute bear turned it, cute stuffed bear turned into that. Sisters take it down pretty easily, destroy the claws, destroy the teeth, and they're probably about to destroy the rest of the bear right at the end before they left on the cliffhanger. Ultimately, the reason they do the story is to get the sisters back on the same page and get everybody feeling good about themselves. I know this is leading to Sigma's end, but this is kind of where it's kind of like sisters good now, both sisters are good. We see the good of them. Chris, I will start with you. What do you think about this episode?
Bro, where do you even start? Bro, okay, compared to the last episode, this was like entirely slow. It gave us a lot of the backstory that we kind of already knew, bro. Like, we could have, I swear to God, bro, like, I could have sworn this is like an AI written episode to the end of what was supposed to be. Like, yeah, like anybody could have had guessed this outcome. And then they had to do it in the most powder puff way. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, the Powerpuff thing was kind of obvious.
I'm not gonna give you my score for this.
Go
This
ahead.
gets a 1.
All right. I have to ask for it. Deon, what do you think about this episode? And if you want to give me the score right after, please do. Because I don't. This is a hard one to explain. This is not one I can explain very well. But
I wouldn't be surprised if he may have accidentally went to sleep.
I would not be surprised either. But yeah, this I get it. This episode. I'll put it this way: this episode kind of feels like Chris said, it's more AI driven in a sense. Like they kind of did the thing where friendship wins the day, where goodwill wins the day, all that kind of stuff. But yet, it has the substance isn't there. You know it was predictable. You knew it was coming. It had a reason to be there, but yet it didn't. It finally took a while for it coming too. It didn't take no time for it to come. Come. You kind of had a hunch it was there. Yeah, I would have to give it like a 4. This wasn't that good. But I'm giving it a 4 just based on the fact it had something there. I think it was not great, but not terrible. Not outstanding, but not like perfect. Like it just was kind of mid. And I think that's after last week you kind of had the bar set high. And I don't know if that bar was set high, but that's also because they did a lot of stuff to make that bar set high. And this episode kind of just fell off again and didn't make that bar anywhere near that.
Yeah, sorry.
Deon,
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just not waking up.
Yep. Yeah.
No, I'm joking. But man, what was that, bro? Oh, my internet didn't even like it. It kept pausing the episode. I had to keep stopping and starting it. It's like, man, what is going on? Yeah. It was just, like I said, just slow. And after coming off of a big episode like the last one, like it just made it that much worse. That much. Then she threw the sword down and tried. Like we all know you're not the one to be giving this speech. She don't even know you, bro. Like,
Man,
But she did say she wasn't gonna fight. She did say that. She did say she wasn't gonna fight. She did say she wasn't gonna fight her. So
yeah, I bet she didn't. She didn't want to fight her. That's the whole premise of her character is that you're a
yeah.
superhero that don't want to be a hero. You just want to, or don't want to be super. You just want to be a hero.
I'm gonna push you for this, Deon. I know what you're probably gonna go with. What would you give episode 22 for a rating of Shy?
A 0.3.
That's fair. I would ask for
0.3. You
I would
get
ask
the
for extra.
0.3 because the bear at least looked cool.
Well,
Even they move was very Bleach-esque and it looked cool, but good gracious, man.
but I have a question then.
Yeah.
Does that mean we just got something where we knew it was predictable and yet the predictability wasn't that great? Because the predictability was there. We knew it was gonna probably happen.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it in the right way.
It's one of those things where you just kind of hope you're wrong.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you know what's gonna happen, but please don't make me right at this moment. You know, because it's so bad. It's like when you know somebody's a thief and they're around money, like, man, I know they about to take. Please, just you don't want to be right because you want to hope for the best for people,
Uh-huh.
but it's like, bro. But visually, this is a very visual anime that looks
Oh yeah.
very good, very well drawn, um, very well produced. The story is just so like even Glitter Force got in more fights than this, bro. Like,
Ouch.
nah, you actually watch Glitter Force.
Yeah. Ouch.
I got 4 daughters, bro.
But there, he got young children and young kids and also girls, so that makes sense. But it's funny because it just kind of tells you Shy could be stepping the game up, and it's funny people are getting tired of the superhero genre, but yet MHA is probably going in their arc. That's one of the best arcs they've done. So I don't know. I can't really explain.
Let's not even bring MHA into this
I
because
will. I know I can't because they're two different things right now. It
And we still ain't seen nothing yet from MHA. Like,
no, absolutely not.
you got, I think it might be a couple more episodes before.
We do. I have to ask Chris and you this before we end the night. Do you think this is
Yeah.
more disappointment than MASH or less of a disappointment than MASH? Because we've seen both of the versions, seen this now, technically, of both of these shows. And I'm going to ask Chris for that first.
in my opinion, this is still better than MASH.
Okay. All right. Deon?
Yeah, this is not as big of a disappointment as MASH was.
Okay.
This, like you said, you kind of expect it. You just hope to be wrong.
Okay.
With MASH, you didn't even expect it
And it was still
coming
wrong.
into that second season. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like watching your favorite football team get all the all the players you know that they need to win, proper coaching staff, great funding, brand new jerseys, and then they lose every single game.
okay.
And it's like that was MASH. But this is like the Cowboys. Like you know they're gonna lose. You just kind of hope that they don't. Like
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, we usually aren't this down on a show like this, but I will say this. This just feels like a strong dichotomy from the first season to the second.
Wait a minute, why was that the perfect analogy though?
Yes, it was. It was. It was. It was. Like, it's sad to say when me and Chris loved the first season.
Wait a minute, though. They got to the first round of the playoffs and they
Yeah.
oh
We
man, yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. Me and Chris love the first season of this, but the second season has been kind of lackluster. We love the first season of MASH. The second season of MASH was lackluster. It just kind of feels like something's off about the show, and I have a hunch we're not going to get the Sigma fight this season. We're having a season 3. We're guaranteed a season 3 now, just
In Shy
because. Yeah,
or MASH.
and get both. But I think more for Shy, we're guaranteed one because we're not getting a Sigma fight. We're not getting this fight against Sigma anytime soon.
So
With
is
2 episodes
anyone
now.
else bothered by that?
Kind of, but it's
I
just
mean,
there.
we've had 2 seasons now where he's been the main villain.
But he's just ground.
Like he's not even here.
No,
Like we see him one episode
Yeah,
in this
nope.
fight,
nope.
and he
He is
just
not.
talks,
Just
he
leaves.
gets
Just gone.
beat up and runs.
Yep.
Like why are you our main antagonist? Like, anyways, yeah.
Ladies and
Shy
gentlemen, I do
Riders,
thank
y'all
you.
got to see me, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you for watching episode 72 of the Anime Dojo. We'll be back next week for episode 73, where we're gonna have 2 more episodes of Shy. So episode 23 and episode 10 of Dungeon People. Oddly enough, between the 2 shows, like I said before, Dungeon People is the one you probably want to watch. If you watch the first season of Shy and don't really know where it's going, I would say skip it for the most part. Just to be honest. There's only a few things you need to know from the second season that really makes sense to going into a third season if they even do one. But it feels like we talked about earlier with the charts, a lot of the drama stuff's kicking in. A lot of the drama has been doing well. Some of the shonen, some of the fighting stuff hasn't been doing as strongly. MHA conclusion because they've cooked, but everything else is kind of like slow, got to the bottom. But we'll see what happens next week. We'll be back with that. This will go up on Spotify after it processes, and then we'll go up on YouTube on Thursdays. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy, and hope to see you next time. See you.
Peace. Cowboys.